There's not much to hook onto these things that's really strong enough to pull on, so I'm having a hard time actually finding a spot to pull on to get this thing to come back onto the frame.
Because it's sitting like 4 or 5 feet further than it should be. I need to be able to figure out how to do this on my own. It's all fiberglass, that's not gonna work.
Let him fight with it for a minute.
But Colin might have just spotted the only piece that's solid enough to withstand the pull.
I might be able to hook on to one of these rails underneath.
And by the time Gary secured the forklift, Colin's got a plan.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking underneath one of the frame rails, but we'll give that a shot first and see.
Gary helps execute Colin's rigging, but they won't know if it'll hold until Colin starts the pull.
Okay, go, Col.
Just keep it coming, you got it coming with the one, go. Keep going, a little more.
Good, or
Just one more little notch.
one more little? Okay.
Good, right there. Let's drop it down. Nice.
That went extremely well. Extremely well.
All we need to do is strap down this cab and we're good to go.
That was really good. Colin's done a great job on this one. Looks like I can move to Florida sooner than I thought. Got it?
I got her.
He thinks he gets the job done, so really proud of him. I'm having a proud father moment, yes.
It's been a pretty cool day. I was able to get this truck up and out of the ditch. It's definitely an awesome feeling, but also at the same time, you know, I have to prove my worthiness of this.
I kind of left him on his own. It's a great little learning experience for him. He fully intends on taking this company over, so the better I can make him as an operator, the more knowledge and tools that I can give him, the better operator he'll be.
Next time on Heavy Rescue 401.
Gonna be a fun one.
That's a lot of mud.
A hard pull
He's going.
goes sideways.
Whoa!
Eric battles a tractor
You bastard.
and runs out of room.
Never gives me a warm and fuzzy feeling. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, wow.
And a wreck on its roof
The other way, this way, this way.
I'm trying.
turns Colin's recovery
He goes. Hold up, Col. Hold it.
on its head.
Heads up. Whoa.
A tornado terrorizes a school in Indiana.
I said people are going to die today.
A monster storm creates chaos in the desert.
The most frightening moment of the day was driving through the sandstorm. I didn't feel safe at all.
And historic rain from a hurricane swamps one of America's most populated cities.
Preparing to leave your house.
Nature's a beast. It'll come at you any way and every way it can.
It was mind-blowing. It was unbelievable.
World's wildest weather. Catastrophic events caught on camera by those who were in the middle of them.
Call 911.
Our expert meteorologists explain the science behind this extreme weather and show us why it's so dangerous. August 2017, the eyes of Texas are upon a major storm aimed directly at the Lone Star State. Hurricane Harvey is tracking through the Gulf of Mexico towards the Texas coast. The Category 4 hurricane has a 300-mile diameter, packing 130-mile-per-hour winds. But it's not just the wind damage meteorologists are concerned about. They're worried about devastating flooding across southeast Texas. It makes its first landfall near the city of Rockport early Saturday, August 26th.
When Harvey made landfall, it stayed along the coast and it was able to continue to draw warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico into its circulation, maintaining its intensity and continuing to drop a lot of rain.
180 miles from Rockport in Houston, local resident cameraman Michael Melendez is monitoring the storm.
It's pretty worrying when the rain hits hard and the thunder rolls in, but living here for a while, that's kind of the norm, so you don't get too scared of it right off the bat.
A few miles north, Michael's mom Debbie is also keeping her eye on the forecast.
The sky was overcast. I remember it got dark. It wasn't any rain out of the ordinary, but what was different with this is that it didn't stop and it intensified.
As it moves inland, Hurricane Harvey is downgraded to a tropical storm.
I had that feeling of, ha ha ha, I got one over on Mother Nature. You can't take me down. Is that all you got? That's what I was thinking. So I jumped in my car and went downtown to start taking photos of the city underwater because it was a pretty epic moment.
However, Harvey's impacts are just beginning in Houston. The winds that steer the storm have suddenly subsided, and that leaves Harvey sitting over Houston.
The jet stream that would normally pick up the hurricane and take it towards the northeast was much further north than was typical. As a result, Harvey slowed down, became nearly stationary, and that was one of the reasons why rain was focused on the Texas coast.
I've never seen so much rain. It just got harder and harder, and it just rained buckets.
It started getting worrisome as you watched the water rise and as you saw your city flooding.
March 2nd, 2012. The little town of Henryville, Indiana, is situated near the Kentucky border. It's home to nearly 2,000 people. Ominous weather patterns are spotted by the National Weather Service. Fearing strong tornadoes, schools in the predicted path hold emergency telephone conferences, including the school complex in Henryville.
We started to get some pretty disturbing information from the National Weather Service that morning around 10 o'clock. It became more and more alarming as it reached into the afternoon. And it was about 2 o'clock that we really knew we had to make a decision. If we were going to evacuate, we had 35, 40 minutes. I had a knot in my stomach. I really was kind of a nervous wreck, but I knew I had to be calm, stay calm.
The weather conditions that day set up a recipe for dangerous weather.
It was already much warmer than it normally is for that time of year. We got up into the 70s, some 20 degrees above normal for early March. When you combine that with the upper level winds, which were very intense that day, over 130 miles an hour, it's just a recipe for disaster.
Tornadoes are fueled by warm, moist air and changing winds in the atmosphere.
The storms that were being produced were of the type that you typically see in Oklahoma and Nebraska. Very large supercells, very tall, and all of them were producing severe weather of one type or another. When I went out to get the newspaper that morning, my neighbor asked how things were going. I said, "This is not going to be a good day." I said, "People are going to die around here today."
Henryville is in a tornado watch. At 2 o'clock, teachers make their decision.
We began to notify parents that we were going to be sending kids home.
The decision was made that we were going to go ahead and start loading the buses and get the kids out. And I remember walking the kids out. And then I remember the buses pulling out and the sirens immediately hitting.
Oh my gosh.
At 2:50 in nearby Fredericksburg, Indiana, a massive tornado forms from a supercell thunderstorm.
We knew that this was not a run-of-the-mill small tornado that typically happens in this area. This was a monster-type situation with devastating capabilities.
We saw actually the tornadoes form. We saw 2 tornadoes form in the distance, and we knew then that they were headed towards Henryville.
Oh my God, look at that.
The tornado begins to snake its way towards the little town.
Oh my God!
Tornado!
At local schools, teachers have just evacuated over 1,000 pupils due to the impending tornado.
That's the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life.
Minutes after the school buses packed with children leave the school, 2 of them return with students still on board. The school's security cameras are recording.
We had a couple buses that could not get their children to the locations, so they brought them back into the building.
The winds begin to increase. The tension is building for around 50 people hunkering down inside the school offices. They have no idea of the severity of the tornado that's heading straight for them.
Oh, great presentation, Tim. Could you email me the part about Geico, making it easy to switch and save hundreds?
Oh, yeah, sure.
You don't know my name, do you?
Of course I know your name. I just get you mixed up with the other guy. What's his name? What's your name?
Switch to Geico. You could save 15% or more on car insurance.
Could you just tell me? I want this to be over.
Swifty's the name. You're looking at the next lead dog for the Arctic Blast delivery service. And the one that shoot!
Swifty?
I think I'm pulling uphill. Are we uphill?
No promotion for you this year. I run serious business.
You are a small Arctic fox who was not meant to pull a giant sled with packages on it.
The only thing I'll be remembered for now is not being memorable, like that other guy.
One guy.
Exactly. So, who's gonna be a good boy? Who's gonna be top down?
Hey, Swifty. Please deliver this package for me.
Are you sure about this?
What's the worst that could happen?
Are you crazy?
Crazy like a fox. On November 1st, Jeremy Renner, Heidi Klum, James Franco, John Cleese, Omar Sy, Michael Madsen, Laurie Holden, with Angelica Houston and Alec Baldwin.
Who's with me? What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, I'm blind. I'm blind. Oh, I'm not blind. Arctic Dogs, rated PG, in theaters November 1st.
These Bombas Merino wool socks really are the best damn merinos ever.
Did you say Dan Marino?
No, Steve. I'm talking about my super soft Bombas Merino wool socks. They're the best damn merinos.
It really sounds like you're saying
Dan Marino? Hi, I'm Dan Marino, and these are an incredibly comfortable pair of Bombas Merino wool socks. Some might say they're the best damn merinos. Not to be confused with me, the best Dan Marino.
There are women who know when little leaks show up, you don't go home, you go viral. Poise Ultra Thin Pads are 5 times drier than the leading Always Period Pad. So you can stay you and stay amazing. Poise, the #1 brand for light bladder leaks.
Let's get down to business. The business of hard work, hustle,